during that time, which was from a Friday to a Monday, then I was out in the universe. I was met by what I would call my one of my main guides or guardian angel. It was Archangel Michael at the time. So in that case, through meditation later, it's like he took me on a trip through the universe.
I'm here today with Reverend Dr. Philip DeLong. Philip has been attuned to crystals and metaphysics since early childhood and has had his first near death experience at the age of 12. Phil, I am so blessed to have you here with me today. Thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me, Tia.
Yes, absolutely. The pleasure's all mine. You have a lot to share, a lot of experiences, a lot of gifts, and a lot of love that you've been spreading with your healing gifts. If you want to start with your near death experience, and you said your first near death experience happened when you were 12, did you have multiple?
I have.
Okay,
So, but
good.
let's start with the 12, the one when I was 12 years old, which actually occurred in 1970 on this day. So this could be considered, an anniversary date, like 54 years ago. So
Wow, actually today.
that's correct.
Oh
So,
my, well, this is going to be good.
all right. So I was, well, living in Michigan at the time, and we had a paper route. So I was going on my paper route, and some person in a Jeep kind of ran a yield sign and didn't see me because it was lightly flurries, and then dragged me under his Jeep for 50 yards. So, and when that happened, I could see the crushed bike and um, my body down there, and it's like I just lifted right out of the body and then went to what I would call the white light. Excuse me, the white light. So in there, that experience is just the universe vibration, or the universe's vibration is love and harmony. That's what it is all about. And I was in a coma for 3 days. So, but during that time, which was from a Friday to a Monday, then I was out in the universe. I was met by what I would call my one of my main guides or guardian angel. It was Archangel Michael at the time. So in that case, through meditation later, it's like he took me on a trip through the universe.
So you say through meditation later, did the memories unfold at a later point in your life?
Well, you have to understand that part of my gifts were enhanced at that part of my life because I already had them. And but I was grown up Catholic, and then my mother actually taught in the parochial schools. So then my imagination and say my mediumship worked as a kid because I could see through the veil pretty easy. Was that was a bunch of nonsense. It was imagination, and them things didn't exist. All right. But that's the way religion kind of treats things. So, what, but when I had the experience, the near death experience, Archangel Michael was there. That I know. The 3 days later, when I woke up in the hospital bed, I'm staring at a white ceiling. All right. And then I could see what I call Mother Mary placing me back into my body.
Mm.
And now I just view that as the divine feminine putting me back in my body. So when I'm looking at this white ceiling, my first words out of my mouth in that hospital was, "Am I in heaven?" All right, because that's what the experience was. It was just peace and harmony.
Do you remember leaving your body and Archangel Michael taking you somewhere?
No, saw my body and I could see leaving the body, but then Archangel Michael was there when I went to the white light.
Did you see anything in the white light?
I could, he took me on a trip throughout the universe. So it was, you could see the creation of the universe, the creation of individual spirit. Okay, so, and then it would be because Archangel Michael and for the Milky Way galaxy, that angelic realm works with the Earth realm and our solar system for the most part. Then when you go out into the Pleiades, then they have a, a similar system to what we call our um, angelic realm, but it's a little bit different. So I have another guide. His name is Heltor. He comes from the Pleiades, and he would be the complement of Archangel Michael in that star system. All right, so all these are interconnected. So what we perceive as our angelic realm is dealing more with the Milky Way galaxy. And when I went to Egypt in 2018 and went to the Temple of Dendera, which is outside of Luxor, then they have what they call the birthing of the Milky Way galaxy by their god Hathor, which our Egyptian guide would say the correct pronunciation is Hathor, but we pronounce it as Hathor. So with that one, you can see in Dendera, you can see where they have the birthing of the Milky Way galaxy. And that piece is a replica from the Louvre because the French explorers came, or French archaeologists came in and took that original piece, and it's in the Louvre. So, but going back to these universes and how they're all connected. So we have our sun, and which is connected to the central sun. And that was part of the experience I saw, how all these other universes are connected to the central sun. So when we have sunlight coming into Earth, then it's coming from the central sun to our sun to Earth. It's all that power that's associated with it. And it's part of what the eclipse is about next Monday. All right, because when we're out there, this is the near-death experience. It's the universe is to empower every spirit. Okay, so we have to look out of the darkness into the light we come. So when we see the eclipse on Monday, we're going to see that darkness, and then the light's going to come into us. And that anybody is going to see that eclipse, that they should be meditating on their own personal empowerment and soul development or soul purpose. What are we here for? You know, and typically it's for service to humanity is what we're here for. So out in this experience that I had when I was 12 years old, then when we see how Earth was created, it had a lot to do with thought. All right, thought of the Creator, thought of other angelic beings, but also other beings of light, as I would call it. So the Greeks would call one of the gods that created the earth plane as Helios, right? Which is the sun god, more like Ra from Egypt, and created the earth plane. And then every spirit that we have has a connection from the spark. So we go through the mineral kingdom, we go through the plant kingdom, we go through the animal kingdom, and then we have what we call the consciousness through humanity. But all that is in our own being. And the way I see it, when you look at how the universe was created and how individual spirits are created, then in the universe, we are like our own star. All right. And that's why our star should be shining on every incarnation we have. All right. Everybody has to remember that they're number one. Okay. Nobody should be low man on the totem pole. You got to take care of yourself, love yourself first. So we're a star out there, our spirit in the universe, and it is like a diamond. All right. So a diamond has lots of facets on it. So that's how we have each facet on that diamond is a life stream. So a past life of mine might be Paul Revere because I like copper. And one of the facets is Philip DeLong in the now. And so another facet could be a future life. Like, okay, you got to think big. So the next Dalai Lama, you got to program things with thought. Okay. So getting out to thought, it's when you're out there in the near-death experience, in the silence, because there's a lot of the power of silence. That is what meditation is all about. So meditation is two things. The prayer where we send out our intents and we consciously talk to the universe. But meditation is then the power of God or the power of silence. So when you're out there, you hear all the thoughts that are coming out. All right. And most of them are negative. So for our service as a healer, as a spiritual counselor or a medium, then we have to uplift people. And that's what living is all about, upliftment. There's a song from what you would consider a punk group called The Jam, all right? In 1980, so they had a single called Start, right? And a lot of things come through music too. A lot of gifted musicians have a lot of connection with the universe. So as Paul Weller wrote this one line in Start, knowing that a person in this life can love with the passion called hate. All right. And then that's what we're sending out to the universe. And John Lennon, with some lyrics in Across the Universe, is the same thing. It has to do with our mind. And pretty much our mind is our soul. So when we send our thoughts out, They should be positive. All right. But in the universe, you hear all this, and there has to be a balance. So positive, positive, positive. That's what we need. That's why I, I haven't watched TV in 7 years. So I just don't want that negativity coming at me. So, okay. So after this, then I when I woke up in that hospital after the um, near-death experience, then there comes something else. There's an awareness. Okay. So, well, actually, there's the awakening. So you could say the near-death experience was an awakening. That people normally go through 3 phases in their life spiritually. They have an awakening, and people can do that through Kundalini exercises or just having a Kundalini awakening and awakening all their chakras. Okay. So people have an awakening, then they have an awareness that, all right, there's more to life than just a paycheck, a mortgage, and car payments. And so they have the awareness is what's my sole purpose. And then the third thing that they need to do is have self-discipline, which could be mainly the harder part of things. What is going to be my spiritual discipline? And how do I balance everything? Because when we go through life, we're balancing karma. So coming out of this at 12 years old, then what it gave me was there is no fear of death. And actually, you could say it gave me supernatural powers. All right. So 3 years, now I'm 15 years old. I had some friends of my parents drive out in their little Airstream motorhome from California, and they visited us. And the youngest boy of the friends, his name was Art, we took a walk and we went to a gravel pit. All right, and this is midsummer, and the gravel pit kind of had this film on top of it. So we walked out on it, and it was almost rubbery. Like you could be jumping on it like a trampoline. And when he jumped on it, he jumped up high and boom, he went right through. All right. So you could say this is quicksand or being buried alive stuff. And so at that point, there's no fear of death. The adrenaline is running through you like, is it fight or flight? So should I run and call for help? But, being there's no fear, then I could see his hand. So I went to the edge and grabbed it and pulled him up through that crap. So, and he survived. So you could say that was a near-death experience for him, but I wouldn't really call it that because I think near-death experiences are more like leaving your body. So, but that was it. No fear of death. And you could say that through my high school and college years, then I could have been more reckless than I should have been. All right. So we'd go tubing down a river, right? And so you'd go on the bridge and you'd throw your tube out as far as you could, then jump off the bridge, and there's only a little hole that you can get to pop back up and catch your inner tube. And if you miss that hole, you're going to be scraped on some rocks either way. So, but that's the daredevil thing. because there's no fear of death. Like I said, when I was 19, I had another one. So if you have questions on this one, that'd probably be a good time to
Yeah,
go about it.
I do. So you went out into the universe and you learned kind of how everything was created, right?
Yes.
Was there like a central energy or a God that created all of it? Or was there a collective energy, kind of like all the souls put together? Tell me about, did you
Oh, okay.
experience anything like that?
All right. So it was a collective energy by many beings that were helping. So when you look at just planet Earth, how that was developed, then there were a lot of elemental beings, and those work with the fire, the water, earth, and the wind. So you could call them the dwarfs, the for earth, the salamanders for fire, the undines for water, and then the slips for sky. But all these elemental beings are um, assisting the building of Mother Earth. And all these um, elementals still exist, but for how I see it now, they're hiding, all right? Basically, or mainly due to pollution. So we have to look at that. So the elementals helped us. Some of the beings of light that we call the ascended masters also assisted the building, the angelic realm. And you have to look at Mother Earth is um, very well protected by Archangel Michael. This is one of his realms. Um, so, and have you ever studied the angelic realm?
I have not, no.
Okay, so there are um, what you would call three categories of angels, and within each category is um, three levels. So when you go up to the first ones or the closest to God, you have the seraphim, which are mostly the protectors. Then after that, you have the cherubs. Between those, you have what you call principalities, and you have thrones. So when we say the Game of Thrones, thrones, it's like, what's that related to? You're going, yeah, the angelic realm, even though it's put a little bit differently. So, but when you go down to the ones closest to Earth, then there's the angels, which are the closest, and the next one up is the archangels. So, in the scale of the angelic realm, they're number 8 out of 9. So, so they're close to that Earth plane here. So, a lot of work with Archangel Michael on that. And as far as the angelic realm, the number of archangels in the Bible, there were 4 of them. You can go on the internet, here's help with 4 archangels. Someone posted that on a Facebook page. And my comment was, why limit yourself? All right. And they go, what do you mean? And so I sent her a link. Well, here's the 7 archangels, and here's another link for the 12 archangels. So that's another thing that I learned. Don't limit yourself. All right. The universe is out there, and whatever thoughts that we perceive from other people that this is correct, just trust your own intuition, but don't limit yourself. It's, I get the thing also with I worked with work with the crystal skull community. and they have, you know, the legend of the 13 crystal skulls. So, and I went to a conference or a conference of crystal skull people, and there were 49 people claiming to have one of the 13 crystals, master crystal skulls. So, and I'm going, well, you guys kind of got it wrong. So, and they don't like the way I perceive the crystal skulls, because it's a consciousness just like the Christ consciousness. So, and you have to do a little bit of looking at that. If you look at the number 13, it's spiritual. If you go to the Hebrew gematria, which is their numerology, then there's a word called Echad, and Echad means one. So one in numerology. So wait, Echad means one in Hebrew, but 13 in numerology. And what that means is the 12 tribes of Israel around the one God. And you can look at, it's always 12 around the one. So you can look at it as the 12 disciples around Jesus. You can look at it as the 12 zodiacs around the central sun. You can look at it as the 12 meridians around our human body. And then in the New Age, we can say the 13 crystal skulls, 12 around the one. And the Indiana Jones movie got it wrong because they all had it 13 in a circle. So when you look at the crystal skulls, then you can't limit it to 13 because it's just a consciousness. Similar to archangels, but similar to the universe and our thoughts. Don't limit yourself. When we limit ourselves, that's where we get into trouble.
We're limitless, right?
Yeah, we are. So, and that's something I learned with the near-death experience as well. So,
You've learned a lot just from this first near-death experience, and you saw that our sun was coming from a central sun. Can you tell me more about this central sun? Is that kind of like a godhead?
it is. So, um, when you look at things, normally the universe is in a representation of the triangle or threes. Okay, and the Trinity is well documented. So the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, if you want to say it that way. But metaphysically, it is thought, thinker, and action, or thought, thinker, and will. And that's where the universe's power is coming to us. So when it's the central sun, that's that thought coming to us. Then the thinker part is mainly our soul that's taken in that. But because we're on the earth plane, there's a lot of energy that's coming through the sun on that. Okay, because that's the element fire, that's our inner fire that's perceived through there. And then the action is, all right, what kind of action are we taking? And it's all free will. Okay. And free will is, we don't really have any sin. We just have good choices or bad choices. Right. And then the karma will balance out either way, bad or good. So,
And you had another near-death experience when you were 19. Can you tell us
yeah.
about that one?
Okay. So this one, and I know you know Raymond Moody. So I met Raymond Moody up in Maine about 6 years ago. So I told him the first one, and I told him this one, and all he said about this one was, "Oh my God." So, all right. So this one was little bit different. And Raymond Moody would describe the near-death experiences. You go to the white light, or you go through a tunnel and meet families or some Christian figure, okay, and or some spiritual figure, I will say. And so this one, it was in Michigan again. It was driving on icy roads. So I was a front passenger. There was four of us. The driver hit a patch of black ice, and it threw us into oncoming traffic. And he overcorrected, and we rolled in a ditch. Okay, and it was a car. This happened in 1979. So when they made cars back then, they're bigger than what they were here. So they had big dashboards and they had big back ends. So in the particular time of this, it was rolling over, and it seemed that time stopped. All right. So it's almost like in this case, then I'm on another out of body experience, seeing the car roll. But in this particular case, then Archangel Michael like took me out of that car. All right. And I'm watching it. And then as soon as, and actually I'm going down a tunnel as well. He takes me out of the car, then I'm going down through a tunnel. I see all my relatives who have passed. And then the weirdest thing about this experience is I saw my future life. I saw my wife and kids. And so when the car ended up upside down. And so I was put back in the car by Archangel Michael. And I'm laying across the front dashboard area. All right. So there were three other people. They were all minor injuries on that one. So then I kicked out the windows and I helped everybody else get out. So in those days, there were no seatbelt laws. All right. I was not wearing a seatbelt. So, which is a good thing because, and I was on like our college track team too. So I'm going, wow, it's a good thing I didn't get injured. So when they flipped that car over where I was seated, then the hood was crushed all the way down into the seat. All right. So that's, how is it possible that I survived that except being taken out and then put back in?
Do you feel like it was your actual physical body that was taken out?
I do.
Uh,
Yep. So,
so tell me about the vision that you had. Was it like a dream like vision of your future life, or was it like you were actually living in it? Did it feel like a memory?
okay, it was all right. Like I said, this thing was slow motion. So, as slow motion as I felt it, it was about 15 minutes. But in reality, it was probably 7 seconds. So there's a time where you bend time and space. And that was particular one of those interdimensional shifts where I was pulled out and then put back in. And so when you go on over to the future life, it was more or less one of those dream things. It's like I saw the people who had passed, but I was more drawn to the future. So that's the direction that I went.
Mhm.
And so these people, my wife and kids, I didn't know because I didn't know them yet. So, but there was a lot of love there and care. And so that's what Raymond Moody would say, oh my God, that one. So,
Would you say Archangel Michael is your guardian angel?
well, yes, I would. So, and that goes back to um, my Catholic days. So, um, if you're Catholic, then you have a couple rites that you go through. The rite of baptism, which is baptism by water. So they absolve you of your original sin, right? However, part of some of the religions are what I call trust and control, right? So with Christianity, then you're a born sinner and you need to be saved, all right? When in reality, the God lives within you. So the only one who can save you is yourself. So, and Buddhism is the pathway to enlightenment is to find the cause of suffering. But who needs to suffer? I mean, Buddha also said pain is inevitable, suffering's optional. So when you look at that, nobody has to suffer. The only way you're going to suffer is if you allow it or you put it on yourself. So there's a lot to say about remorse. So, don't live in the past, right? And grief, everybody has grief, and that's that part of suffering. And people have to realize you have to replace that grief with love. But everybody's different and it's hard, especially if you lose a child. With Archangel Michael, then the next rite in Catholicism is the rite of confirmation. So that one is um, baptism by fire. And this is by St. Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 8 to 10 or something, that he refers to the gifts of spirit. So when you're confirmed, then the Catholic Church says you get one of these 9 gifts. So to look at the gifts, there's 3 um, power gifts, which is knowledge, wisdom, and discernment. There's 3 speaking gifts, which is speaking in tongues, understanding tongues, and prophecy. All right. And to me, the understanding tongues and speaking in tongues is more like a meditation type energy, because you can have a guide from the Pleiades or somebody who lived in Germany talking to you, and then but your soul is going to interpret that Palladian or German into English for you to understand. And then the prophecy is just what you would call it psychic work or mediumship work. And then the 3 healing gifts of those 9 are miracles, healing, and faith. So everybody has to have faith to self heal themselves with that healing energy. All right. But so through confirmation, this is another trust and control thing, you get 1 gift. All right. But in reality, you have access to all of them. Okay. So then in that rite of confirmation, then you get to choose a confirmation name. So mine was Michael. So I knew he was my guardian angel. So
And if you have access to all the gifts, does everyone have access to all the gifts, or do they have to go through this process?
no, they have access to them. It's part of that, awakening and awareness. All right. You're awakened with the spiritual gifts. Now that you're aware of them, what are you going to do about it? You're going to have idle gifts, or are you going to use them and have that self-discipline to use them? So,
How can one develop their gifts so that they can see them or sense them easily?
okay, there's a lot of places you can get spiritual development through. You can go to a spiritualist camp, you can go to a unity church, you can go to meetup.com and put either metaphysical groups or spiritual groups, and you can get the meetups and then you can get the training through that. And everybody has the gifts. Now, there are some mediums out there who will say that you are born with a gift. All right. And but everybody's born with a gift because you're part of the oneness. All right. And you just have to develop it. So when you say, that's ego talking, because the medium who actually came up with that, you're born with a gift, was doing tarot card readings on the streets of New Orleans before he made it big. And then he said, you're born with a gift. So don't limit yourself. All right. Everybody has those gifts.
And you work with the ascended masters in the I am consciousness of the universe. Can you tell
Yeah.
me what kind of work you do?
Okay. So there's another guide I work with, and his name is Saint Germain. All right. And he works with an energy called the violet flame. So, which is part of the I am presence. So the I am presence, when it's coming into you, would be your spirit coming into you. All right. It's coming through all the rays, or the rays from the universe, into your causal body, which the causal body is your cosmic egg. It is how we refer to it. So you have your spirit is connected to the Godhead. You have all these rays coming into you. It comes through a tube of light surrounded by the violet flame, and then it terminates that connection, or your silver cord, into your higher heart, which is where your I am presence resides. All right. So everybody has a direct connection with God. And people have to realize that. Some people have gurus, priests, and rabbis, and it's okay to have a mediator until you actually work with your higher self and have that direct connection with God. It's like when you work with crystal skulls or crystal balls or tarot cards, those are tools for your higher self. And then once you don't need tools, then you have that direct connection with God. But everybody has that. Now, the violet flame works with another embodiment of Saint Germain. So ascended masters are people who worked on the earth plane, had several reincarnations, and then their final incarnation, then they broke the cycle of reincarnation, balanced their karma, and now work on the cosmic plane. People like Jesus, Buddha, Confucius, Mother Teresa, you might want to even add in on that one. So when you work with the violet flame, then, and another embodiment of Saint Germain was Merlin from King Arthur's time, the wizard. So with the violet flame, then you have what we call spiritual alchemy. You can turn lead into gold. And that's part of the violet flame, is transmuting negative energies into positive outcomes. All right. So it comes in with a vibration that obliterates any discord, discomfort, or disease that you may have. But it's a healing type energy. And the number one thing about healing is forgiveness. Another thing that's coming in from these near-death experiences. Nobody should have any unforgiveness in their heart. They have to remove whatever resentment or hate that they may have. Otherwise, instant karma is going to come. So I don't know what you think of instant karma, but I have a personal experience I'll share with you. So my older brother and I were in business together, and him and the boss or CEO had majority shares. So I was a director, and because of the majority shares, they had their own type meeting. So my brother, then his salary went up phenomenal, to like 330,000, and then the boss was making $1 million a year, and eventually it came out, and you know, it's white collar crime, and pretty much we kind of don't look at it as closely as we should, but it happens all the time. So when it was all done, then I forgave my brother for it. Okay. But he's got an ego problem and a victim mentality, because I'm a twin brother, all right? My older brother's 54 weeks older than me. So he was #1 for a year now, and he's always had an ego problem. So, all right, so getting with this story. So I forgave him, and he kind of put it on me. It was my fault. I said, what are you talking about? You're the treasurer, you wrote the checks. And so I forgave him, and he didn't accept it. And he wrote a reply in an email to me and copied in my wife. And so I wrote back again and forgave him, and he wrote back another nastier one. And so I just had to leave it. I forgave him. But what happens when you don't accept your forgiveness, then instant karma is going to come around, right? John Lennon's one of my guides too. So was Aesop. So, and in 5 years, then my brother got rectal cancer. No, I don't wish that on anybody. But, you know, as Aesop would say, the moral of the story is if you act like an a-hole, you might get the consequences. Sorry. Spirit loves humor. So, but I'm putting it in the story to reflect it. Yeah.
What do you feel is the most important thing people can do on their spiritual journey? Would you recommend starting with healing or forgiveness, or are those kind of like one and the same?
They're one and the same. So, healing is everybody has to have faith, all right, and faith that they're going to be healed. So, part of getting healed is forgiving, because most of our physical diseases come from the emotional body. So we need to forgive people and have no unforgiveness in your heart, but work on the healing and self-healing. Now, how I view healing is that the most powerful healing is through the power of suggestion, which again is the power of thought. All right. So if I want to heal somebody in California, then through my thoughts, then I'll send them those healing energies. And then the guides and angels will ride those thoughts and deliver that healing. All right. So, and that's the power of suggestion. You can heal yourself too. So when you have the thought to go to, say, a spiritualist church and get a spiritual healing, or you go to an acupuncturist, all right? So because you had that intent that you're already healed before you even open the door, all right? And then the healer or the acupuncturist is going to be a confirmation of your intent and then actually activate the self-healing within you. All right, remember those three gifts. Miracles happen every day, and then healing, and then faith. All right, everybody has to do their part. And you know, if I had a friend who was a smoker and he had lung cancer, so he had a third of his right lobe removed. And then he went back to smoking and unfortunately died of cancer. But you know, you have to do your part. So, and part of it is having that faith that I'm going to be restored to perfect health.
Switching gears a little bit and going back to what you were talking about, tools that we can use on our spiritual journey. You are a passionate crystal collector, and you work with crystals and minerals. And you're actually even on a venture now to search, mine for, dig for crystals where you're at now. How can we use crystals, or how can we work with crystals in our spiritual journey?
Okay, so crystals have a lot of power to them. And how I usually work with them for the most part is through color. So, and I work, that has to do with the rays coming in from the central sun into our bodies. And then usually our auras are connected to chakras. So each of the chakra colors, if you're familiar with the chakras, then you know we go red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and white. So we use crystals to work with those chakras. So the color crystals, a red one would work with the root chakra, and that if you have problems with the root chakra, then you should use a red crystal for healing.
Would it help to wear that color crystal in like a necklace as you're
Oh,
going about your daily business?
it would. So, and uh, if you wear an amulet, so that's going to give you the power of what you want. If you wear citrine, it's a yellow crystal, then it will help you in several categories. One of them is it will attract money. All right. The other one is it is going to enhance your own personal power. So what you set out to do, you're going to finish it. And the third thing is you especially want to bring it to the court if you have a court case. So there's a lot of judgment associated with citrine. However, if you work with lapis lazuli, all right, now that's one that works with your brow chakra or your third eye. Okay, so if you wear that, you're going to get a lot of spiritual impressions through it. If you are a medium and you are clairaudient, which means you hear spirit talk, you probably should wear some lapis earrings, and that will help with that clairaudience. Otherwise, a necklace itself will work with the third eye. So the heart chakra, there's lots of crystals with that, um, which would be emerald or green aventurine or even rose quartz will work with that. So that has to do with love and unconditional love and attracting that, and grief as well.
How do we know where we have blockages or areas that we need to work on?
Usually our body is going to tell us. So we have to listen to our body. And the chakra systems usually goes up from the root to the crown chakra. So we look at the red energy, it's going to be about um, love, family, strength, vitality, and being grounded. All right. So it's going to work on our legs and our part of the digestive system. Then we go up to the sacral plexus or spleen chakra, and that's going to work on a lot of what I call the law of attraction issues. And because it is a stone of procreation. All right. So when you look at procreation, then that means planting the seed for things to manifest. So emotionally, that can be anything in your life. Physically, it's going to work with the spleen, um, the liver type energies, and fertility if you have those problems. And then the solar plexus, also referred to as the navel chakra, is going to be your personal power. That's also going to work with this stomach issues, the pancreas, and the insulin type energy around your body, and give you that inner fire. And then the heart chakra is going to work on the circulatory system and the heart. So use bloodstone on that one. That's what I recommend to everybody because it's got the little red flakes in there. And actually, bloodstone works physically on the circulatory system. Emotionally, what it's going to do is work with family issues, especially getting people together again, because blood is thicker than water, right? And then the throat chakra, we'll use a blue stone for that, any blue stone, but that's pretty much for that is for communication. And then the brow chakra, lapis, would work on that. The crown chakra is going to be amethyst or just clear quartz. Clear quartz is an anything tool, all right? You can program with your thoughts anything into a clear quartz. So if you want to use a clear quartz and use it, I'm going to use it on my root chakra. So this is going to be red garnet right now. Send the red energy through it.
That's very interesting and so much information. Thank you for sharing all that with us.
Okay, so on my little trip now is I'm in Oklahoma and I'm going to go selenite digging. So, and selenite is a white stone. It's opaque. I call it the icy white light for a healing tool. So through that, you can, if you have a wand of that, you can direct it to the place that needs healing, and etherically it goes in, freezes the tissue or area, and then when it thaws out, releases all that negativity.
Selenite, I've heard, also can cleanse your other stones. Is that correct?
Yes, it can. If you get a little, I guess, platform thing, or you can put the other stones on it and charge it. So one way of doing it. What I want to say, we're all part of the universe. All right. And so we just have to go into our state of consciousness to connect with it. And it's in an alpha state of consciousness. So we can be conscious and access the subconscious. It's like cleansing crystals. I have one around here. I guess I do. All right, here's a crystal here, right? It's kind of big, but all right, if I wanted to cleanse it, right, one of the best ways to do it is put it out in sunlight for 4 hours, and it'll remove any negativity on it. And if I want to charge it, then I put it in the full moon energies and put my hand up and then put my intent as to how to work with that crystal. And I should feel some energy coming down my arm. However, we're all metaphysicians. We're all part of the universe, that oneness. So here's how I cleanse crystals. So take that, I would connect to the universe, and I would bring in that 4 hours of sunlight and go on counterclockwise through that crystal, cleanse it. And then I would bring down the full moon energies and go on clockwise, put my intents into it, which would be, infinite intelligence, divine creator, Father, Mother, Guide. I ask that your love and light send energy into this crystal to work with my highest self, to work with healing others, and for the betterment of humanity. And so it is. All right, but that's all thought. Okay, and we can do lots of things with our thoughts.
We're limitless.
That's correct.
If my viewers wanted to find you, how can they reach out?
Okay, they can, the best bet is go to my website, which is revdrphil.com. And they can send me an email, which is, my email is iamphilipdelong@yahoo.com.
And what type of services do you provide?
Many. So I do spiritual counseling, I do healing, and I do have several classes that I teach on Zoom. So one of them would be healing, another one would just be spiritual and metaphysical knowledge.
Do your healing sessions work through Zoom?
Yes, it would.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Well, it's been amazing to have you, Phil. I have enjoyed every minute. You're full of wisdom and knowledge, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your little vacation to share that with my viewers and myself.
Thank you for having me, and
Absolutely.
go in love and light.
Thank you. You too. Thank you for being here. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you being here and supporting my channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing if you enjoy near-death experiences and other spiritually transformative stories. It helps the algorithm know that this information is useful and push it out to more people. And that's the goal, to get as many people to know that we are eternal spiritual beings and that we never die. Our bodies might die, but our essence will never die. And I want people to live with less fear. Let's all spread the word. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that little notification bell so you get all the notifications when my videos post. Thank you for all of your support. I'm sending love to you.